What do you think of when I say the word fellowship? For me, I think of, the traditional Baptist understanding of fellowship. 4 tables full of food, me with a plastic plate about that big and just stacking it high, and then go and find a seat with my homies, sitting down and enjoying a meal together. But did you know that's not what Jesus meant by fellowship? You see, there's 2 categories of fellowship that kind of Jesus looks at. The first is very simple. It's with people. Look at Jesus' ministry. He spent 3 years with these dudes, constantly camping with them, eating with them, going to parties with them, feeding the poor and healing the poor with them. And he spent 3 years teaching them, listening to their concerns, listening to their banter, listening to their fights or arguments, and dealing with them for 3 years. Which makes me think, what do Christians think of fellowship today? Is fellowship just a common thing that we just do together? That we just gather on Sundays or Wednesdays or life groups or Sunday school, whatever you might have, and we just kind of listen to the Bible and go home? Or are we missing the mark? You see, if I look at Jesus, I can't help but feel that fellowship is not just spending time with each other, enjoying each other's company. It's dealing with one another. It's dealing with people's sins, dealing with people's struggles, dealing with people's misunderstanding of what you say, talking things out, debating things, being concerned when things are happening in your other friend's life that is affecting them, being there for them when they snap. But oftentimes today, it is easier to push someone away than to build somebody up. So I have 4 principles of how do we fellowship better? How do we meet the expectations Jesus has for us as Christians? The first is that we must grow closer to Christ in order to understand what deep fellowship with Christ is and deep fellowship with each other. Because if you don't have a deep relationship with Christ, it's going to be hard to have a sacrificial relationship with other believers. And for some people, being a friend is easy, but to have the type of love that Christ has for his church for others is a lot more difficult than just being a good friend. It is deeper than being a good friend. It is caring for them when they don't deserve it. It is reconciling them when they don't know it. That is a deep Christian fellowship. The second principle I have is a biblical understanding of fellowship is a deep love for one another. Do you love the people you go to church with? Do you love your life group? Do you love your Sunday school group? Do you love in any Christian Bible study that you may get together? Do you love the people in there? Or is it just another thing on your calendar? Is it just, you might love like Jim and Susie, but Kyle, no, not Kyle, not Karen, but John and Susie 100%. But if we are truly to understand what Christ is, it's to love everyone in our small group, everyone in our life group, everyone in our midweek when they don't deserve it, when they don't need it, but a deep, sincere love for the people God has put in your lives. The third principle is that Christians actively share what's their struggles, their concerns, and their stumblings with each other. See, a kind of a weak Christian fellowship is the fellowship we get together and you ask for prayer requests and no one raises their hands. You ask for prayer requests and someone raises their hand, they ask, oh, let's pray for this disaster that's happening. Okay, yeah, we're concerned about what's happening in India, we're concerned with what's happening in other places, but we should also be opening up with our souls, with our understanding of who each other is. We should share our deep concerns and our deep thoughts with each other. If you don't open up in those moments, how do you ever expect God to show you where you need to go? How do you ever expect me to understand what God is showing you, or how to speak truth and life into a struggle you're having if I don't know what's happening? Next time you have that prayer request comes up, be real. Open up. Tell me what your struggles is. Tell me what things are going on. Be open to one another so that God may shine some light on some dark areas in our lives. 4, one of the main purposes of fellowshipping is to encourage others and to be refreshed yourself and encourage yourself with your walk with the Lord. So this is why it's important to fellowship with one another. Fellowships aren't just eating food. They are making deep connections with other people, sharing your concerns, sharing your thoughts, recharging and being encouraged in your walk with Christ. These 4 principles will help you understand a deeper walk with Christ and a deeper walk with those who walk with Christ. Because as Christians, we aren't lone rangers. We are together, we are strong, and we are one body, as the Bible has mentioned multiple times.